Hi everybody, Mr. Shuey again. This is going to be part 3 of our distance learning while we're all taking this little break from each other and staying at home, staying safe. Hope you like my hat. This is my hat that my nephew Jensen gave me before we went to the Bills-Eagles game. It was bad luck because the Eagles kicked the Bills' butt, but I thought you'd like it if I wore it today. So today I want to talk a little bit about coding before we actually do the coding project. Coding is interesting because it's a form of storytelling. You can use coding to tell a computer how to operate. You can use coding to tell a piece of equipment or machinery how to operate. You can use code like we are doing here to do a little animation. Coding is used in the movie industry for CGI effects. And coding is also used in video games. And it's interesting how this coding has changed the way we interact with the world and storytelling. So, when I was young, we read a lot, more than people read today, because we didn't have video games, and TV was rather limited, and there wasn't any computer-generated effects in television. But today we have a lot of interesting stuff because of coding. And I think it's interesting when boomers say, you guys should read more for young people. And I agree with that. I'm an avid reader, and I think you should read more. I think it's a powerful skill. I love reading great books. Right now I'm reading The Green Mile by Stephen King. Awesome book. But there is this case to be made for video games here. They're not all negative. What you actually have with a video game is code that creates a story. And the power of the video games and why they're so addictive, I'll use that term, is because they're immersive. You become part of the story, and that's powerful. You become part of the story, and in a way that books rarely do, in a way that movies rarely do. So coding has changed the world that way. Now I've done my little lecture, and I'm going to say let's go on to the Scratch coding and continue with that. And after I do the lesson on Scratch, I'll talk about how we're going to do grading for all this. So we're all figuring this distance learning thing out, and we'll see how it goes. All right, here we go. So I've opened up the Scratch program to the last programming thing that I did in Distance Learning Video 2, and it was the animation of the squirrel and the soccer field. So we learned how to do a sprite character and a background, and then we used the look feature to do some thought bubbles and make our squirrel think. And we changed the times on that, stuff like that. The next thing I want to do is use a control code block to make it so that when you click the green flag at the top of the screen, the animation will start. And the reason you have to do this is because if you have two sprite characters, you can't just click on the code block and have them both start, because they each have their own code blocks. So if you do this coding this way, when you click on the green flag, the whole animation will start together. So you can see I pulled over that block that says when green flag clicked, and it will make our squirrel think then. So now what I want to do is add another sprite character, and I'm going to go to the clownfish, just because who doesn't like a clownfish, right? You get to choose whatever you want for your animation, whatever sprites you want and whatever background. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to move the fish over to the side of my screen here. And now I'm going to go to the motion code, and I'm going to look for glide for a certain amount of time to a random position. I went past it there, so I'm going to scroll back up. You can see there are a lot of different move things here. So there it is now. I'll slide that over. And it's only for 1 second, so I want to change that to 15 seconds. So where you'll see the 1 there, I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to change it to 15, so that's 15 seconds. Now I want that to start when you click the green flag, so just like I just did, I'm going to the control options, the orange one in the middle on the left side. I'm letting it play a little bit, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Alright, there we go. And there's the block that says when green flag's clicked. So now I've got both of them that'll start when I click that green flag at the top. Notice that we have two sets of code, so whichever icon for the sprite you click at the bottom of the screen is going to activate that code and bring it up to the workspace. So that's the squirrel code there. And I want to change this a little bit because of the way it's working. I'm just going to make the first thought bubble be a little longer and change it to 5 seconds from 2. There's a lot of adjustments you can make here. So there you go. It's not a great animation, but it does teach you the basics of Scratch. So now we know what a sprite is, and we know how to do the background. We know how to do some thought bubbles and make it think, and we know how to do a little bit of motion stuff. And what I'm going to look for in grading is that you have 2 sprite characters, a background, thought bubble, and some motion. If you have those things, you'll get 100. Just save this, and we'll worry about turning it in.
Go ahead.
Later.
Yep.